was all about, but that's okay.
It's okay. Oh God, I found this new thing here and it just fades out. I don't know. Welcome back.
I need a fade out button.
I need a fade out button.
Right. It is September 2023.
Yeah. It's my birthday month.
Is it?
Yeah. People always get so excited. Why do you get excited about it? I'm going to be 27 this year.
27.
The mind of a 12-year-old still.
You got any pictures of when you were with Westlife when you were 4? Is that about right?
Yeah, that's about right, yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Right! Vintera. Ace Vintera.
Oh God, signature model.
So Vintera Mark I has been in the catalogue for a few years now. It contained a few models that were replicas of old models. It contained vintage modified, which were kind of like, quirky takes on Vintera.
Yeah, I remember.
But Vintera 2 is now upon us. And we have a few welcome returns here.
Have we?
Largely a welcome return to Rosewood.
To Rosewood. And she would if she could.
She would if she could.
Oh
Rosewood.
God. You know what she also would? She would like and subscribe.
Do you know what her dad's called?
What?
Edward. Edward Wood. And he would as well. Edward Wood.
Oh, man.
Anyway,
he would like and subscribe to this channel because he knew and she knew that you would win something every 10,000 subscribers, and when you hit 1 million, anyone could win a
and Edward Wood would win a clon. Anyway, right, so we've got the return of Rosewood on the Rosewood fretboard guitars. The whole range, so Vintera is a Mexican range, and what they've kind of done with this is it's more of a reflection of the American vintage range. So all the vintage modified stuff is gone. So everything now is just aiming at, sort of like a vintage correct replica of an old guitar.
I don't know if that's a shame or not. Do you think that's a shame, maybe? I mean, you can probably still get some of the old ones, I would imagine.
I mean, Fender are kind of saying now, if you want to go modern, then it's all about Player and Player Plus, and if you want to stay vintage, it's all about Vintera.
Yeah.
So I sort of get that, but yeah, vintage modified was fun. Anyway, the overall vibe of these guitars is that the necks are trying to be slightly more period correct.
I felt that immediately.
Yeah, the pickups are supposed to be sort of revoiced again to be more vintage correct. And we've got some new colours and stuff like that.
I like this colour.
So Pete and I have got pretty much all the electric guitars here, or at least one of each series. The missing ones are Mustang, which we'll show you on screen when we get to the offsets. And I guess we haven't got all the basses or the bass 6 here, but there's a cool bass 6 in the range as well.
I'm looking forward to that one.
So, would you like to start with this one, Mr. Pete?
I would.
The original, the 50 Strat, so came out in 1954. The American vintage models will often pick a specific year to kind of dive into and try and recreate. On Vintera, it's more about recreating a sort of a decade, so taking all of the best bits, if you like, of that decade. So you typically...
So you get 50s instead of a mid. Yeah.
So here we have an older body with a gloss finish. They're all polyurethane finishes on Vintera. You have to go up to American to go...
Road one will get the nitro.
True. That's very true.
Right.
But if you want nitro not worn, then it's American vintage.
Yeah.
Anyway, so older body with a gloss finish. Early 50s voiced Stratocaster pickups with a 5-way switch, which again, the 5-way switch wouldn't have been period correct.
No, it would have been a toothpick.
Everyone agrees that would be better.
Yeah.
So we've got the V-shaped one-piece maple neck.
I felt that immediately when I grabbed it. Thick neck, thick.
Yeah.
THICC, Lee.
Yeah.
And then it's got that V shape, like you go from the Clapton sort of.
Yeah, and that's a sort of, I think, very early 50s would just be more clubby. Late 50s would be more into the sort of C shape, the sort of fatter C shape, but that kind of Clapton
60,
57,
56, 57, that was like my 54.
Had a bit of a V pronounced on it, which is nice.
Sits right in the hand here.
Vintage tool frets, 7 1/4 inch radius, so of course completely unplayable. He said
I don't want to do this video, it's awful. Can't work in these conditions.
Can't work with a 7 1/4 inch radius. No, it's against union rules. No, we're laughing there because, of course, for 20 years, the general vibe was the 9 1/2 inch radius was what you needed to have if you wanted a low action. And then dear old John Mayer released his Silver Sky and said, you can have a 7 1/4 inch radius if you want. You just, need to maybe set it up a bit nicer, but hey.
Or even was before YouTube came out and all the social media, everything was fine. 7 1/2 was 5 1/4 was fine. Everything was fine. just now that everybody can have an opinion about it. Anyway.
So we got vintage, sort of, the bent steel saddle tremolo.
Yeah.
Got nice gig bags with these, Fender branded nice gig bags.
Okay.
And the 50s Strat is available in two-tone sunburst, which is what we have here. Black with a maple neck, obviously. I suppose that's Clapton Blackie kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And OCT, which if I had a colour printout, I could tell. Is it Ocean Turquoise OCT?
We'll put a screen.
OCD.
OCD, yeah.
Anyway, it is whatever OCT is on screen along with the other two guitars.
OCD,
Pretty sure it's Ocean Turquoise, which is a cool colour.
Yeah, it's a cool colour.
So give us some. When I was playing that, and that's obviously I used that in the opening jam.
It's got floating
It's
film.
very glassy. You got that lacquered fretboard. Typically 50s kind of glassy tone. But yes, let's have a little listen to that.
You mean that Stratocaster tone?
I do.
Okay. I'm going to start on position 4 because that's the classic.
Classic.
And I know where you want to play, but it's not that, so I'm not going to play it anyway. You're right.
Play Wonderful Tonight.
Yeah, that's what we're going.
That's actually not bad. I mean, that was the tone, wasn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't. And he had, anyway, so let's go on the neck position now. So we got, for those of you who don't know Strats, you got a 5-way selector switch here. You got neck position, and you got fourth position, because it's the other way around. It's 1 here, 2. It's confusing, isn't it?
Who decided that?
Who decided that, man?
One is always the neck, surely.
One is always the neck, absolutely. Neck, these two together, the middle one, these two, and then the bridge one, you got a volume and 2 tone controls. And is that? Yeah, so you got modern wiring here. So, okay, so here's the neck. Good. Here is, sounds like a Strat. Here is the position 4. Here's the middle position. The most underrated position.
Yeah. Apparently
ever.
Clapton used this middle position a lot.
I mean, lots of people use the middle position a lot. I like the middle position. If you're a bit lazy, middle position is great. Here is position 2. It's just a bit of flint. It's got that Stratty sound. Here is the bridge.
Let's play a game where we go back and forth naming a guitar player synonymous with 50 Strats, and then when someone can't go, that's the end of the game.
I can't
I'm going to start.
already.
Buddy Holly.
Hank Marvin.
Eric Clapton. Literally, those are the 3. I couldn't think of a third one. Please, let me just think.
Nile Rodgers. He's got a 59 with a hardtail, hasn't he?
Right. Damn it. Okay, so that's a 4th one.
Yeah. Anyway,
well,
let's go. Otherwise, this video is going to be so long.
Okay, so
it sounds great, man.
Go and read the comment section for more people.
Quick gain from the
Yes,
Dane.
gain.
Position 1. I really like this neck, man. I really like
it's a good neck.
that V shape. Here's position 2. Middle position. John May, I played a gold one. He had that gold-plated one, I think.
Here is the Strat.
Yeah. Good sound. It's just it's a Strat, man.
A couple of other things that are synonymous with a 50 Strat. So you got the single ply scratch plate.
Yes.
we didn't really, the lacquered fretboard really does contribute to that sort of, zingier kind of tone.
It's very, I feel it underneath here as well.
Yeah. Interestingly, it's one of the things that, so over the years, Fender have kind of gone, should we just not have lacquer on the whole neck, and give it that sort of worn away finish? And currently, the general consensus for like what's good is to have no lacquer on the back, because that gives it that nice smooth feel, but lacquer on the fretboard so you still get that brightness.
Yes, but if you want a vintage correct one, then you have it like this.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So now we're not going to go through, well, in fairness, you've already worked out, so we're not going to do this range chronologically, we're just going to do it sort of in order of how the bits of paper have been stapled together. So, 60 Strat.
Fine for me. This is a great colour, man. Classic.
As Fender morphed into the 60s, you saw the introduction of the rosewood fretboard. You saw a slightly slimmer, this where the C-shaped kind of neck comes from. You saw the 3-ply scratch plate. Now that was largely because those single-ply ones tended to sort of slightly start to warp and bend after a while. And the general consensus, I think, is the pickups became slightly fatter and less bright sounding.
Yeah.
In terms of spec, we're still sticking with an alder body and a gloss finish. We have now mid-60s voiced pickups with a 5-way switch. We have the 60s C-shaped neck with the rosewood fingerboard and the white dot inlays. We're staying with vintage tool frets and 7¼ inch radius. Same trem system, same gig bag. And your 3 colour choices are the Lake Placid Blue, which Pete's holding now, which looks lovely. A 3-tone Sunburst, which was where, again, on screen now, but where they introduced a little bit more sort of red in between the black and the brown. And the last one is Olympic White, which is a
classic
great
60,
colour. Classic. Probably the 3. Well, Candy Apple Red's probably the other absolute classic from the 60s.
Can I ask a really stupid question then? So there's not much change really from this to the other one. Rosewood and then just some voice.
You mean from Vintera Mark 1? Yeah, it probably is just rosewood
it's not very much,
and the pickup.
Okay.
I think I'd have to have 2 side by side, but they've made a big deal about feeling like the necks are supposed to be more vintage correct. But should we have a little listen? And then we can play our game of who was synonymous with the 60s.
Oh, that's
By the time we get to Jaguars and Jazzmasters, I won't even be able to name one.
It's going to be tomorrow anyway. Right, here is position 5. Yeah, it's more mellow, isn't it? It's much more. Here's position 4. I like the trem system is set up really nicely, like slightly floating. I wouldn't have that normally, I would just have it flush to the back. Here's the middle position. And here is position 2. That's a flint, if you were wondering.
You're just adding extra reverb.
Yeah, reverb and reverb. That's all great for everyone. Here is the bridge position. That's definitely more snappy. This is more subdued in a way.
I mean, some people say the fretboard makes a difference there. I suspect most of it's just the way the pickups are voiced.
The same people who say the wood doesn't make a difference. Anyway, so here is some little bit of a dane on the neck. Middle position. Nice. Middle position is nice, man. Very. I want one of those Nashville Teles where you put one in the middle, because I think that would be a really cool idea. Anyway,
it's a great sounding guitar.
Position 2. Sounds like something, but I can't quite put on what it is. But And I go first, Jimi Hendrix.
Stevie Ray.
Oh, God. And then John Mayer. Everybody else.
John Frusciante.
Oh, okay. Clapton.
No.
He played this as well, didn't he? Did he not?
Well, he was more synonymous. Blackie had the
that's
50s
right.
neck on
Okay.
it, didn't it? John Mayer.
Mark Knopfler.
Knopfler. Gary Moore.
See, he played on Les Paul. Oh man, there's so many. Come on, it's just not even funny.
You're right. The 60s
Philip
seem
Sage.
to be... he's gone them all now.
I mean, there's so many.
It's fine. I'm not going to go
many.
anymore.
No,
Rory Gallagher.
Right, do you remember the one where somebody goes up to you, name the 3 best songs, and you go like this? Oh no. So you can't never do that. Anyway, great guitar. Feels really nice.
It's cool.
Plays really nice.
I wonder if people, perhaps a slightly newer guitar, you might not appreciate the significance of Rosewood going back here.
Yes.
And Rosewood was bizarrely actually given how abundant it generally was. So rosewood was actually added to the CITES endangered species of wood quite a long time ago now. Was it maybe 10 years ago or 5 to 10 years ago? And as a result, trading in rosewood and shipping rosewood around the world became unbelievably bureaucratic. So a lot of manufacturers sourced alternative timbers, and Fender decided to go for Pal Ferro, which was a darker wood that they'd used before. Stevie Ray Vaughan, ironically, had Pal Ferro on his.
And they also used laurel on some of the other
signature.
guitars.
So the cheaper ranges would use laurel as well. And then after a few years, CITES was taken off. Sorry, Rosewood was taken off of the CITES list, and so I think now you'll start to see most manufacturers going, okay, let's resource where we were buying rosewood from again, and deplete our Pal Ferro stocks and everything, or laurel or whatever it is. So yeah, it's quite cool that we're back to rosewood on here.
That's what people wanted, isn't it? That was people moaning about before. So
consistently a sort of a nicer looking, darker wood, I think, than most of the alternatives.
This one has got like a stripe in it, so it's like a dual colory kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like a latte that way up.
I think it's always nice to see a bit of natural figuring in the wood. But anyway, that is the 60s Strat.
Good.
We are now moving into the best decade there ever was, because that was when the world brought you fantastic people like
Ingrid
Pete and me.
I told you, I'm born in the 80s,
Damn it, have you basically, you've
I'm
pulled
born in 92, me.
You've pulled the one guitar player that I can think of. No, him and Richie Blackmore. Richie Blackmore, I think, is 70s Strat.
Richie Sunak, he's
Richie Sunak. Can you imagine? In his band Deep Blue. Right. So this is 70s Strat. Now, 70s is a funny era, really, because it was kind of the era, I think, that so Leo Fender sold to CBS in 64, 65. And by the time they were into the 70s, there was a general consensus that, really CBS just wanted to bang out as many guitars as they possibly could, make as much money as they possibly could. So I'm not entirely sure it's a decade that is deeply loved.
No.
But bizarrely now, some of these 70s Strats are fetching upwards of, 2,000 or 3,000 quid if you get a good condition one now. So, as you rightly say,
and the headstock is great.
Headstock is bigger, looks amazing.
Yeah, because they had them in the 60s,
Yes, that is a
before
late
it changed,
60s
right?
thing,
I like the late 69s. It was a big headstock.
You do have the bullet truss rod, so which is really important, because if you look at the 50s and the 60s Strats, you can only adjust the truss rod by taking the neck off the guitar, which is a massive pain in the arse. So that's a good feature.
I did what I did with the screwdriver and just went whap,
or just gouge it in.
Give it one of those.
The if you flip it, as Pete just did, the neck is bolted onto the guitar using a 3-bolt design, which gets probably a bit of grief about it not necessarily being as stable as a 4-bolt neck. I'm not entirely sure I've noticed.
Well, you take Trotter's car, the yellow car there, and you see that
Robin
fall over
Reliant.
like...
You've got different tuners.
A bit more square.
In terms of the neck, I sometimes think that the 70s is sort of synonymous with a slightly flatter sort of D shape, although on this particular Vintera 2, they're talking about a one-piece... okay, so this is the first time you get to choose whether you want maple or rosewood within the range.
Really?
Rosewood fretboard, yeah. So I'll go over which colours come with which in a minute.
From the 70s?
Yep,
All
so
right.
you could have, well, I might as well do it now and show it on screen. So if you want a rosewood neck, rosewood fretboard at least, it's seafoam green is the option.
Okay.
If you want maple, then it's three-tone sunburst or the vintage white.
Oh, that's
vintage
great.
white is super synonymous with the Ingve kind of vibe.
Seafoam green with a big headstock and a rosewood board.
We're still at 7 1/4" radius.
Oh no, I can't play them.
Which I think is, I don't think 9.5 came in until the 80s. But anyway, they describe this as a 70s medium C-shaped neck. Does it feel different to the 60s?
It's slightly fatter.
Does
it? Feels slightly bigger, a little bit bigger, but
Yeah.
not very much. I wouldn't. It's not. You know, it's.
We've still got an older
wouldn't cry about
body.
it.
We've still got the vintage tool frets.
5-way selector.
Yeah.
One wiring.
Same trem system.
plays
So
with
yeah, it comes with a gig bag. By the way, the 50s, 60s, and 70s Strats are all the same price. They're all about £1,000. Links will be below to dive on over to the Andertons website to see what today's
£1,000
up-to-date price is. Yeah, I mean, what is that? What was Vintera? Was 800-ish, wasn't it? So I mean, it's kind of.
When I was young, they were like 200 quid, but you know.
Well, there is that. That was when a loaf of bread was 3 6
Right, let's go again. Here,
Yes.
5-way selector switch, volume, tone. Is it modern? Modern wiring still. Here is the neck position. That's fatter again, isn't it?
It sounds more like the 60s one.
Yeah,
than the 50s
it's got.
one.
I was dialed the tone up a bit. This is the best sounding one in my ears so far.
Oh, okay.
I like
the
because
60s.
more clear. There's more top end and more low end in it somehow. You
It
know,
all comes from the special tone-shaped headstock that they use.
Yeah, it's a hockey stick. I tell you, if had this one to man songs. Anyway, it's position 4.
You can't do that.
Oh, that's different. That's almost more quacky. It's almost like it's phased out somehow. You know what I mean? Okay, interesting. Here's position 2. That's much more quacky, much more, you know, like that.
Yeah, nasally, yeah.
And I'll bet my old socks on that because this
I'll bet that old saying, I'll bet my old socks. Yeah, why not?
It's like, nobody wants to bet me that. Let's have some gain. You hear that quack? It's much
great
more
colour.
quaggy. Yeah, it's nice. It's
Cool.
nice. Yeah, cool. I like it.
I sort of feel like we might as we'll throw in these nuggets of information, which I'll
Nuggets.
probably run out of after this one. But again, we've talked a lot about this 7 1/4" radius. Some of you might be going, I'm not even entirely sure I know what a radius is. So imagine drawing a circle. The radius is the distance from the center of the circle to the edge of the circle. And the fretboard is cut using the same sort of curvature as that circle would be. If you cut like a little, 1.5, 2 inch bit of the circle out, however rounded that circle would be is the radius of the fretboard. So the bigger the circle gets, therefore the greater the radius becomes, therefore the flatter the arc of the circle.
There isn't such thing as a circle.
There's no such
No,
thing
because
as a
the
circle.
Earth is, as well,
that's true.
is flat, so it can't be a circle.
Exactly. So Matt, that's essentially what radius is. And so you've got manufacturers have generally, I think the general consensus was if you've got like a curved radius down at the chord end, it makes it really comfy to play chords.
Yeah.
The higher up the fretboard you go, the more you've got this issue of, as you're trying to bend the strings, particularly the sort of E and the B string, you're getting closer to the middle of the fretboard, which is raised because of the radius, and therefore, unless your action is a little bit higher,
down here, it'll spread out.
Yeah, it's kind of, sometimes you get a bit of string choking.
But listen, it doesn't.
Yeah, so I know, and it's a bit weird. We sort of got, I wonder how much of that was like marketing people trying to sell flat fretboards, but yeah, I think the general consensus is, look, a sort of a setup, a sort of a mediumly poorly set up guitar with a heavy radius is going to choke out. And I think it probably isn't the kind of guitar that you would buy if you want a really, really low action all over the fretboard. One of the more recent designs, you know, in the last 10 or 15 years that's become popular is what's called a compound radius fretboard. So it's more curved at the chord end, becoming flatter as you might go up and want to play those.
Was that Grover Jackson that invented that, wasn't it?
I don't know, actually.
Somebody like did that, wasn't it?
I'm thinking he's the kind of guy that would.
Yeah, he would.
Right, we are now moving. We've sort of gone back in time to the 50s again, specifically 1951.
This is a bass, isn't it?
Is obviously the guitar that started it all for Fender and for Leo Fender. It was arguably the first ever really mass-produced electric guitar. I still find it, to this day, unbelievable that so little has changed about this. I mean, you could...
What's changed?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, you could absolutely just go and buy a 1951... well, it would have been a broadcaster at the time, wouldn't it? But, you know, this style of guitar.
Yeah.
And it's... they nailed it, or he nailed it.
He nailed it, man.
They're actually calling this the 50s no-caster rather than the Telecaster. That's again a nod to, this was originally called, was going to be called the Fender Broadcaster.
Yeah.
And then...
there was a drum kit, wasn't
yeah,
it?
Gretsch owned the trademark, or at least felt they called a drum kit a broadcaster before, so they politely asked Leo to change the name, and he went, okay, I will. But there was a window of manufacturing right at the beginning where the guitars were just shipped with no name on them, just Fender, no model name, and that became known as the no-caster.
Look, on the headstock here, there's just
they've actually done that. That's amazing. Oh,
and
that's
also,
pretty
have
cool.
you noticed that it's got they've gone straight to the straight screws here in the back? Have they done that on the Fender?
What, not Phillips
So
ones?
it's not Phillips
My
ones. Yeah, that was
me.
another one they
Are
changed.
they going like super period correct there? Okay, well look.
Somebody just found a massive bottle of screws that they...
we have on Vintera too, so we've got an older body, early 50s voice Tele pickups with three-way switching. We'll see, hopefully the wiring is modern wiring, because the original ones had a really weird wiring for the neck pickup. It's a one-piece thick U-shaped maple neck. So
it's thick as a Coke can. I mean, it's like...
Wow.
Tell me that doesn't look the same. Look.
Vintage tool frets, 7 1/4 inch radius. These brass saddles on the bridge, which change when we go into the 60s to steel. Gig bag, 2 colours. Butterscotch, which is...
You can see right through it here.
Yeah,
look.
I mean, that's...
Keith Richards.
With the black guard, is like, it doesn't get any more classic than that.
No.
Or you've got the option of a 2-tone sunburst. So this colour I'm holding here, but
this
on that
is a lovely guitar, this.
Yeah, there's something just...
It's just a classic,
iconic,
man. You
isn't it?
cannot beat it. He was so right the first time, and he still is.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's the guitar that when you know, it's just a guitar. It does everything. Shut up. Here's the neck. It's got the spank.
Yeah.
It's just there, man, isn't it?
It's
just
brilliant.
there, isn't it? Oh, what did we play earlier? We played like... It's just there, man. It's just great, isn't it?
I've just suddenly thought, what Strat did Jeff Beck play? Was he 50s?
He was 50s. No, he was 60s. He had the thing on with the white, with the Rosewood board.
You know what? Actually, I'm most remember Jeff Beck
80s.
with is it was like a
With a
Strat
thing.
Plus type
Yeah.
thing, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
Anyway, so I just thought
Anyway.
we missed him out earlier on as like an iconic Strat
Oh,
player.
he's the
Sorry.
most iconic of them all. Bridge. I mean, it is a fat neck on this.
Yeah.
It could offend some people, you know. Me, no, I love it. But a little bit of slap. A little bit of deco. I really need to get some country licks up.
Oh man, and never underestimate, even though, you know, it
tone control.
looks like a humble single coil pickup there, the way it's made, and is it the metal base and sat into the...
Yeah, it's got a metal and it sits into this thing, so that's the
it's
clean
got
there.
so much more balls than a Strat bridge.
And that's the Dane. I mean, I keep going on about the Dane because I love it, but that was designed for Telecaster, especially because I had the Telecaster. And you go on the neck. And it just becomes kind of stratty.
So good,
with
man.
just a little bit of everything, most 12 o'clock. And then a little break. All with the same gain,
Yeah.
but it works so well. That's a Telecaster, it just works.
So... Does sound great. So, okay, you're going
Great.
Keith Richards, are you?
Yeah, you go. So
Bruce,
you got
Spring
Bruce
Clean.
Forsyth. I mean, what's the country guy? The most famous
Danny
country
Gatton.
guy? Yes, there's another one as well. You have to. I completely forget all
What's
of
his name?
it. Man, I need to figure it out.
Let's look it
because-
up.
Oh God, I can't remember. We can't remember.
Okay.
And I can imagine. I remember watching the videos and that, and just go, my God, this is just amazing.
So, that's the 50s. Shall we move on to the
Beautiful.
60s
We
one?
shall. I've got it here.
You got it, well done.
Yep. This is a nice piece of rosewood on this one. If you look.
What has happened? Oh, it's a lovely colour.
Yeah.
So we're older body. Pickups have been revoiced now, 60s. A D-shaped neck, which is interesting.
60s, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite.
Feels like the
I sort of
Strat.
associate D more with the 70s, but
Yeah, I bet you do.
bet you
With alleyways and train stations.
vintage tool frets, 7 1/4 inch radius. So the saddles now are the steel saddles rather than the brass saddles.
Which would you prefer? I prefer the
brass is always the one I've sort of lent
got more
towards.
sling. It's got more ping in it, but
Yeah, and a gig bag again.
gig back.
And you can get two colours in this. You've got the red. It's interesting. This is
It's like a
this is
salmon
colour
one.
coded as FRD, which would normally be Fiesta Red, but
Yeah.
it looks like you say it doesn't look as pink as Fiesta Red.
I like it though.
Or Sonic Blue, I think
Nice.
is
Sonic Blue
SNB.
Telecaster is lovely.
Is that SNB? Is that Sonic Blue?
Well, we'll put a picture on the screen now.
Is
Yeah,
this
that's
one?
Sonic Blue, definitely. Yeah. Sounds great. By the way, did you know that the famous Bruce Springsteen Telecaster is actually not a Fender? It's like something he bought in a shop.
Really?
Yeah. I saw it on a clip. Some
If that's like
blues
Slash
players
with his
and then-
Les Paul and all that kind of stuff, isn't it? It's just like,
middle position.
allegedly.
What the was that? Middle position. Okay, and here is the bridge. It doesn't have the same
No, I know.
Telecaster slap as the other one. I mean, and also they've got 9s on it. I keep going on about that 9s, 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 9s. I want to put 10s on it, get a nice setup.
Yeah, yeah. This is one of my favourite Fender stories.
Favorite.
If the camera zooms in on the bridge here, you'll see that in front of the pickup here, it's nice and shiny and chrome plated. And behind the pickup, it's just been left kind of rough and unfinished, if you like, or unplated.
Yeah, I love this story.
And
it's great.
Literally, this is how conscious Leo Fender was of saving every last cent that he could when building these. So originally, these would have come with a pretty kind of cover that would sit over like this. So the only bit of the bridge that you would see would be the very front, just as you could see underneath the cover. Yeah. And his thing was like, well, if you can't see this bit, what's the point of me paying an extra 2p to get it polished up and finished? So
legend.
Yeah,
what a legend. What a legend.
But and I suppose
he should run my budget, I'll tell you.
It's like, and fair play, I think, always to Fender for kind of feeling like it's important to not, to try and recreate those details. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, he was a good man. Here is the Dane again, because why not? That's just a nice sound, isn't it?
Sound good,
And here's a bridge. What is it doing more gain?
Did you go with, so Francis Rossi we could pull out there, couldn't we?
Let's go the protein both sides.
Just came to life there as well, didn't it?
Everything just needs to be loud. It's a Telecaster. It's just such a great guitar.
It is. It's very, very cool.
I still can't remember Travis Monk.
You will remember. You will.
Oh my God. Right, this is a great guitar. Great guitar. How much are these then?
These are all. Yes. Everything we've seen so far is about £1,000. In fact, what we are about to see here is the one that's gone up a little bit. So this might be a smidgen more.
Oh, I love these guitars.
Thinline is a super guitar.
Yeah.
And brilliant if you've got a bit of a back problem. So
yes,
it's substantially lighter than the solid body ones. Has a slightly different tone because of the way I suppose the wood has been chambered. Beautiful. Yeah, the pick guard, I just think it's an iconic looking pick guard on the Thinline guitars. Absolutely. This is the regular Thinline, so there were variants of this that had humbuckers and stuff like that, but this is the sort of the standard Thinline, if you like, from the 60s.
Yeah.
We've moved away to an ash body now, semi-hollow, obviously. 60s voice tele pickups, so I think it's the same pickups that are on the guitar we had previously.
This is great, man.
Different shape neck though, so a more of a C shape than a D shaped neck.
Yeah.
Only available with a maple board. Vintage tool frets. Guess the radius, Pete?
25 and a half.
7 1/4 inch radius. Steel saddle, so it's very much, the pickups and the bridge and everything's very much from the sort of staying with the 60s vibe.
Yeah.
Comes with the gig bag again.
Yeah. I would put
3-tone sunburst and
that's a gorgeous sunburst.
And black. Black is. I've actually got a black Thinline Tele with much the same curly kind of guard on it.
Fat and nice and juicy. And it's got this hollow kind of thing about it, doesn't it?
It's funny, isn't it? The whole wood doesn't make a difference. It's hard to know how much of it is psychosomatic and how much of it is genuine. But I think
there's a hollowness.
I think hollow body ones, you have a slightly more acoustic ring to the tone.
Yeah, because. I'm bending up here. Middle position. It's just a nice sound, isn't it?
Great sound.
So here is the bridge. It's got that Tele vibe, but it's got that hollowness underneath it all, if that makes sense. That's the thing,
great.
the Tele.
You know what? I'm defeated as well. I cannot think of a single player who is completely synonymous with the Thinline Tele.
Man, I can't anymore. This video's just been too long. What next?
The green one. That one there.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and you'll be pleased to know, thank goodness, Pete, finally you can play this guitar properly because it's got the 9.5-inch radius.
That's it?
Yeah, do you know what?
I can't believe that. I'm so lucky.
I'm trying to remember now. There's something
This is
in the
much
back of
more
my head
substantial.
that says the 70s deluxe Telecasters were the first ones to have things like belly cuts, and it may well have been that this did have the flatter radius, but I don't think the flatter radius was generally released until the 80s.
I mean, that's pretty heavy, this one.
It's a beast of a chunk of a guitar.
Yeah.
So,
but they were, weren't they?
again, we've
new.
got trem systems on Telecasters. We've got the wide range humbuckers. So yeah, older body, 70s wide range humbuckers, C-shaped 70s neck. We've got the bigger headstock, which looks cool.
For
the
controls,
gigantic scratch plate that obviously covers everything. You know, big old cavity to get the knobs and the switch and the
cavity.
and yes, and 9.5-inch radius.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. It's weird to have a thing.
Yes.
That's weird. It's too flat for me. I can't play this. Unbelievably flat. So, just for those out there that doesn't know where the controls are, it's much more like a Les Paul kind of vibe.
it has to be Fender going. We need to make something.
Absolutely, because it's heavier.
Yeah.
It's got the chunkier kind of neck. You got a three-way here with two humbuckers. You know, the right ways. You got a volume for each and a tone for each, so you can blend in. So if you're in the middle position. You can blend your tone, so you got a possibility to do that. So. Wow, that's very. Much hotter output.
I still, again, I think, I know it's a tired old argument, and you know, science says one thing and guitar players say another. But you've put two humbuckers on a older body with a bolt-on neck, and it doesn't sound the same as if you just put two humbuckers on a mahogany body with a set neck. It just doesn't sound the same.
The others didn't do that. Ooh, that's a Dane, by the way. Much more sustained in this.
It's a great sounding guitar.
Yeah, this is throwing me off a bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Isn't that as well? They've introduced the steel block saddles now, so that was again another thing that occurred. around this time, so moved away from the bent steels into the more substantial saddles.
It's definitely flatter, and that's not a joke. I mean, it feels. Sorry, go on, sorry.
And you've got the truss rod that you can adjust from the nut end, which is obviously helpful. Two cool colours on this: the seafoam green, which Pete's playing, and a vintage white as well.
This is great. I like this colour.
Only maple neck or maple fretboard. Sorry, options. What have you got tuners wise on there? Same as on the 70s.
It's almost like an 80s one,
Oh,
but
yeah.
with 80s with like 70s knobs on it.
Cool.
Buttons. Weird.
Right, two more guitars here. Pete will be pleased to know they're his two favourite guitars in the entire Fender range.
Oh, come on, I love it.
You want to do the Jaguar first, do you?
Yeah, let's do that.
Rightio.
Kurt Cobain.
Oh, wow, yeah, I give up with this. I don't know, I was going to say again, probably Keith Richards, Ronnie Wood, that kind of vibe, not sure.
He would if he could. Ronnie Wood, he's sister of Rose, isn't he?
Oh, Rosewood.
Yeah,
And
Ronnie.
His dad,
Rose
Edward
and Ronnie.
Wood.
Right.
Okay, so we now have a 70s Jaguar, which it isn't. I don't know what the 70s, perhaps the block inlay was synonymous with that decade.
And then you've got a square here and a back.
I don't know what the Jaguar had in the 70s. Maybe, I mean, in all fairness to Fender, they're being pretty correct with the specification here, so I'm guessing it probably did have the square design. We have here older body, 70s voiced Jaguar pickups with the rhythm lead circuit, a 70s medium C-shaped maple neck with the block inlays, only available in with maple necks on the Jaguar here. Vintage tool frets, 7 1/4 inch radius, funnily enough. It's got the vintage style floating trem system here. Again, it is period correct, but it's not necessarily, in our opinion, the best bridge it could have had. So it's got the period correct bridge with the saddles with the little grooves in them.
Yeah, it should have been the Mustang ones.
Yeah, a lot of players.
This is an easy swap, man.
Yeah, if you love to sort of dig in and be a sort of a reasonably heavy-handed
'cause
strummer, you are going to pop the strings in and out of those different grooves, and there is a super easy. I can't remember how much these are now. They were about 40 quid. Yeah. You can just. It's from a Mustang guitar basically, so lots and lots of.
The whole thing just pops up.
Jaguar and Jazzmaster players will do it. I'm just having a look. Yeah, going to have the same issue on the Jazzmaster.
Yeah.
But this bridge isn't even screwed in or anything. You take the strings off, it just comes out, and then the Mustang bridge you just slot in. It's the same thing, and the groove. There's a single deeper groove on that those saddles. So anyway, so we've got the rhythm and lead circuit that'll switch between whether you've got volume and tone down here or volume and tone up there.
Just this here.
There's also a capacitor on that circuit, so that even with everything turned up full, those two circuits do sound slightly differently.
Yeah.
And then you've got your various on-off and phase positions.
On off. It's like it's not a phase. This is like a
treble
what do they
thing,
call
isn't
it? They call it like a treble boosty thingy, majiggy.
You'd think we'd know by now, but we don't play Jaguars very often, do we? So
I mean, it looks great. So here is now. So I'm going up. So I've got volume and tone. You know, that's kind of. That's basically what that is. You go down here, then you got a switch. So you are off. Now that's on. Now that's on. Now they're both on. It's this kind of.
it's like a
What do they call it? It's got a name, huh? No, it's not. It's got a name for it. It's called a dip. It's chip or something.
Chip.
Yeah. So. I enjoy that very much. And then of course you got your volume and an overall tone. And how this works here, the arm, you know, that's got that whole sort of Jazzmaster drum system. So if you've got a little lock here mechanism, what that does when you flick it back, you can't go further up.
I see.
So, oh, hang on, it's jumped out of the position, but so that it locks it so you can't go back, but you can go.
It was something to do with.
So now
he was worried that if you broke a string.
Yes,
the
and then
whole
it'll
thing
go like
would
that.
go out. So
Yeah.
the idea was you could
So
switch
it
I'll be
stays
honest with you.
in that position there.
I'm not entirely convinced.
You can hear.
Oh yeah, okay.
But if I go forward, I get. I can do more like. You know what I mean? That's a great sound for that, isn't it?
If I remember rightly, the whole concept of this and the way the actual bridge pivots backwards and forwards slightly as you're moving the trem system, the concept of this was to try to design a trem system where your relative tuning, so if you played a chord like that and bent the arm down, the chord would still be in tune with itself.
Hang on, I've got some tremolo on here.
Yeah. Harder. But whereas I think with this style trem system, it doesn't stay as in tune as that. Anyway, that was the general thinking.
It's cool, man. It's a cool guitar.
So,
you know, you can do all your shoegazing and all that with it. That's cool.
2 colours in this, black or white, always with the black block inlays though. So that's the Jaguar. And then finally, and this is the one that has thrown me, Mr. Pete.
Okay.
Why is my slightly befuddled brain telling me that the Jazzmaster and Jaguar came out in the 60s, and yet according to this Vintera 2 crib sheet here, this is a 50s Jazzmaster. So I got that completely wrong. Did it come out in the 50s?
Go fish.
58.
Ah, so I've got that wrong. Okay, so the Jazzmaster, did the Jaguar come out the same year?
62.
Okay, so there we are. So if you didn't hear that, Jaguar came out in 62. Jazzmaster is 4 years older than the Jaguar. I'm sure all you guitar aficionados probably knew that, but
they all
that's
scream and sing,
confused me.
you should know this, you do YouTube videos. Yeah, but I've got no idea what I'm doing.
So, older body, late 50s voiced Jazzmaster pickups with the 3-way toggle switch, and again the rhythm and lead circuit that we saw on the Jaguar.
Yeah.
Have a late 50s C-shaped maple neck with a rosewood fingerboard.
Yeah, I like
vintage
this.
tool frets, 7¼ inch radius, vintage style floating tremolo system, and a gig bag. And hurrah, at the end of this bit, that's the end of the demo!
Oh, we still got a bass though, haven't we?
That's
no,
true.
we'll do. They can do that. I mean, we'll just show it at the end. But anyway, so again, you got the switch that goes from the rhythm.
Oh, I haven't had my
to
lapel plugged in the whole time.
You have got to go from the rhythm to the lead, and then rhythm again is your tone. Sorry, your volume and your tone. Of course, it's being a jazz master. It's the master of the jazz, so. And then when you switch down to the lead circuit, you got a normal kind of neck, both together, and bridge, volume, and tone. So take the reverb off. I've always liked that sound.
What did Matt at Monty's...
It's something with flatness of the flat and wide, isn't it?
That's right. So compared to a normal single coil pickup, the massive plastic covers are a bit sort of misleading, really, because it makes it look. Maybe that was the point. It makes it look more like a humbucker than a single coil pickup. But apparently, a classic Jazzmaster pickup is just a shorter
thin
pole piece.
Yeah.
So the winding, if you like, is. It goes around a shorter bobbin, but I think wound more, so the winding sort of goes out slightly. But it does give a slightly different tone to a single coil pickup.
And then you got this, of course, for the people who doesn't like nails scraping down the board. The long and short bobbins. Kicking my pedal board. You want to play Disney chords on this all day long.
Oh, yeah. What's a Disney chord?
Is this... That's a rubber surf sound, isn't it, that? It's a great sound, that, isn't it?
That's a good guitar.
That's the El Capistan, the Deco, and the Flint. Just full-on Strymon fanboy.
The Church of Strymontology there, haven't you?
Strymontology.
He's gone for
That's
it.
a new one, isn't it? Hashtag Strymontology. That's perfect. That sounds
all right.
great, though,
Well,
man.
look.
I love that. And again, the same lock there. So you know what I used to have on? I used to play a Jazzmaster. Actually, quite a lot. Nobody would think that I did, but
I'm
I
surprised.
did. And you can get this little. I couldn't find a Mustang bridge back in Denmark, where I bought mine in for TV show I had to do. Because I thought it looked cool, never thought I would play it. But you can get a little thing, a little roller bar that clips onto this bit, and then it pushes down the strings here, so you don't have the problem of
I
it.
see.
Yeah, so instead of having those, it's like a little roller bar that clips onto this bit
I
here.
wonder
And
if you can still buy that.
I'm sure you can.
So, a couple of colours in that. We got the Desert Sand. Oh yeah, but obviously you got the anodized guard on there. Desert Sand and Sonic Blue, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is all we have got today. Well, other than the bass.
There is a P bass and a jazz bass, right?
So let me just, again, these will just whiz across the screen now. We do have a couple of 70s Mustangs with the competition stripes on them. Specs, again, you can go find on the Andertons website. We have 50s precision basses in a couple of colours, which look cool. We have 60s precision basses. We have 60s jazz basses. It's a shame we didn't have this today because there is a 60s bass 6, which I think all the bass 6s we've ever played in the past have been either Squire or way more affordable. So it would have been fun to see. That'd be another day, another video, another day.
Well, how much is that going to be? 1,200 quid?
Yeah, about 1,200, I think.
What? Is that a Telecaster bass?
We have a 70s Telecaster bass with the big wide range humbucker in the neck.
Oof! Nice.
And we have Mustang basses as well. And that.
We'll have to have a bass video on that. You know what?
Holy
I think I want one of these now.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like that. This whole thing just brought me back to the.
Release your inner J Mascis, or is that?
This is very J Mascis, isn't it? I'm not sure I would pick this color, but I still like it.
Well, you pick that color and then put CND stickers over it and sort of, stop the bomb and that, that's what you do.
I really like this.
Holograms. And
I really like this. This is my favorite of all of them this time. Isn't that weird?
I'm surprised you said that.
It's a nice fat tone. I never thought there was going to be like a.
Just listening to them, I think I liked the 50s Tele.
Yeah.
Just because it's iconic. I really like this. I thought that had some good sounds in it. I thought the thin line was nice.
Great, I mean, this Fender's, man.
Probably. Again, it's cliche, isn't it? But the 60s Strat is hard to beat.
Yeah. It is.
Man, thank you guys for sticking with us for. I guess this is at least an hour long, right?
Yes.
Woo! Thank you to the editing team. I've had to do this and cut so much rubbish out.
On day 3 of editing this video.
Yes, and that's it. I should have told you at the beginning you could use the timestamps.
I did.
Oh, you did.
I did. I tried to, at least. I tried to get it into my ramble.
Right. Okay. Thank you for watching. We'll see you when you've recovered. See you next time.